Hey everyone, it's Michael GoosebumpsFan. I hope you're doing well today. I know I said I probably wouldn't have this review up this week, but it turned out my renovation guy didn't come yesterday for the kitchen renovations we're doing, so I was able to have some free time before I went back to bed to catch a nap before work to finish this book I talked about in my Q&A questions thing for the 28th, which is the channel's third year anniversary. Goosebumps Most Wanted number 10, The Lizard of Oz by R.L. Stine. This is my final Most Wanted Goosebumps book to read before I get to rank all of them and get to rank the covers and whatever. This cover's not that great. And I'm going to be honest with you, yesterday I had read about 50 or 60 pages over the course of like 2 weeks because I was just so busy this last couple of weeks. And I didn't hate the book, even though I had heard from people like Spongy on my previous review of my last Most Wanted book I read, telling me that it was a really bad one. And I didn't really believe him. I kind of take everything people tell me with a grain of salt. Well, I'm going to tell you this. Spongy, you're right. You're really right this time around. Cute title, The Lizard of Oz, you know. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be frankly honest with you. I've read a lot of Goosebumps books for this last 3 years of my life and doing reviews for you guys and talking about many different things. And there's always a bad book in one of these eras of Goosebumps, whether it be the classic series, whether it be Give Yourself Goosebumps, the Most Wanted series, whatever. Whatever era we're talking about will have at least one bad book. And I'm going to tell you, out of a lot of the bad ones I've read, including the IDW comic book series, which I hate with a fiery passion most of the time. I like little aspects here and there, but most of the time it's terrible. Every once in a while I'll get an actual book from R.L. Stine. Of course, the IDW comics he doesn't write. And sometimes those books are so bad that I genuinely think that I hate them deep down. And I'm going to tell you, after the midway point, the 60 or 70 page mark of this book, out of 135 pages, I got to the point that I physically hated this book. I genuinely hate it. I think it's easily the worst of the Most Wanted series. I haven't entirely decided that yet off the top of my head. I'm going to settle my ratings on the ranking thing when I look at the ranking video, my list that I have on my phone of worst to best or best to worst, whatever. But I'm going to tell you, I think this is very easily one of the worst books R.L. Stine has ever written. I think it's easily one of the worst books I've ever read from Goosebumps as a series. I think it's the worst Most Wanted book possibly. It is such a piece of crap. It sucks so bad. I have no other words for it. I could not stand this book as it went on. And after that halfway point, it just deviates into relatively familiar territory and trying to throw shock value twists in there to be clever, but it also sucks, you know? It constantly does these things that make no sense whatsoever to kind of throw you off from the story and trick the reader, and it's just dumb. And then it gets into a point where it's so outlandish that it's not even enjoyable, you know? And I really like how cartoon nature some of the more comedic Goosebumps books can be. I love that about that. The Give Yourself Goosebumps books are a great example of how cartoonish Goosebumps can get in a very fun, sometimes adventurous way, in a really good way that I enjoy. And as a matter of fact, I'm reading a GYG book right now. And some of these other books, when they fail this hard, it's hard not to hate them. And this is one of those ones I just flat out, I hate it. I think it sucks. I do not recommend it to anybody whatsoever. If you're going to buy it, I don't recommend reading it. Just put it in your collection and act like it never happened and that you already read it, because whatever you could come up with in your brain for this story's title is going to be better than what you're going to get with this book. I promise you. I flat out promise you that's the case. Do not waste your time on this piece of trash. Anyway, The Lizard of Oz, what's this book about? Basically, there's a brother and sister. The sister's the main character. The brother's a little bit younger than her. They have a mom and dad who can't even hold down a job. They're just useless. They're not the type that accidentally lose their jobs. They just constantly change careers in their 30s and 40s or whatever they are. Constantly changing careers continuously, which is not the wisest decision. And I already have no respect for them for that alone because of how stupid their choices typically are. And this time around, they decide that they're going to be lizard farmers. Yes, lizard farmers. They decide they're going to travel all the way to Australia. Mind you, they're probably running low on money and whatever. They decide to go all the way to Australia, nicknamed the Land of Oz, to go look at rare species of lizards. And while they're out there, a guy kind of takes them to the side and tells them about this particular egg that he has from a particular rare species of lizard that, as far as you know, has probably never been in America. and it's like a Tasmanian lizard or something. I don't know what it's supposed to be called. It's a really dumb name. Kind of cutesy, but kind of stupid. And so they buy it from him, they take it home, and this thing hatches at some point. They have to go through the process of trying to raise it properly. It's the first lizard of their lizard farm. They kind of want to do like a petting zoo type of thing, sort of, kind of. And this lizard approximately is supposed to get pretty big. Now, when this lizard hatches by accident, it's got like fur all over it, which is really gross. It loses that. And it's just kind of like a regular old lizard. Like, it's weird. And then it happens to bite the main character. I have a feeling that many of you people out there who know how this kind of idea goes knows how stupid this is going to get. Believe me, you don't even know. Yeah, it sounds like a werewolf type story. And it gets worse and worse and worse. You have no idea. The first 50 or 60 pages of the book, which is really like the first half of the book, I said yesterday in my Q&A announcement video thing, the 3-minute long video, I said it was fine at that current point, when I'd read 50 or 60 pages. But as I continued through this piece of trash, I hated it more and more yesterday as I finished it. And by the end of it, I just flat out had to kind of push my eyes back into their sockets because they tried to roll out of my head. I hated this book because of how horrible it got, how stupid it got. It got, I don't even have words for it. It just frustrates me because somebody wrote this book, in this case R.L. Stine, I assume. He wrote it, and the publishers published it, man. They put it on paper, and then they sold it to me. You know, like, what? There's a reason why you don't see a lot of the Most Wanted books still in stores. This is exactly why. This is exactly why. Because of books like this. I don't think I've ever seen this book in stores. I had to buy it online. But there's a reason you don't see that in Barnes & Noble. There's a reason you don't see that in Books A Million still. And if you do, it's because people knew it was bad and they avoided it. So, yeah. Anyway, The Lizard of Oz is a terrible book. I hate it deeply, as you know. And I will probably never read this book again. Never again. As I said, not to rehash things, I think it's one of the worst Goosebumps books ever written from Stine. I think it's one of the worst from the Most Wanted series, if not the absolute worst of both of what I'm saying. It's unbelievable. I've read a lot of bad Goosebumps books, dude, and if you have been a collector and you've read these actively, if you're somebody who only read the original classic series, I don't think almost anything in there comes close to how bad this is. Maybe. I haven't read all of them. I still have like 20 books or 15 books or 10 books, something like that. And I still don't think anything I've read in there have come close to how horrible this book is. I just don't. I just don't. I haven't read Chicken yet, though, so that could kick my feet right out from under me. But at this current point, this is one of the absolute, like, bottom 10 for me, frankly. Anyway, when it comes to Goosebumps Most Wanted, The Lizard of Oz, don't read this piece of crap. Don't spend time on this. It's awful. I hate it deeply. It's terrible. It's not worth your time. Do not spend money on this unless you're just putting it in your collection. Do not go and read this. If you're going to try to read it, pick it up at the library. This is not your typical cutesy, familiar, kind of let's steal the plot from something else weirdo story. It's not like that. It's not funny where it's a really comedy type of book. The Australia thing's a little bit different. I like that change of setting for a little bit of time in the book. If you live in Australia and you have this book in the Australian version, what's it like? Do they travel to America? Do they travel to like England or Germany? How does that go? I would love to know that down in the comment section down below, so please tell me, my Australia viewers, if I have any. Anyway, The Lizard of Oz. Put your thoughts and comments down below, guys. I would love to hear what you have to say. If I had to rate this book on a 5-star basis, again, I started out liking certain aspects, but even those things I liked are ruined as the book goes along. And usually if I like anything about a book, I usually give it about a 2 out of 5 stars. But if it takes something that I liked about the book and just completely trashes that part of it in the worst possible way, even if it's the first half of the book like this did, I can't go that far. I got to give this one a 1 out of 5 stars. I hate this book. There's some nice little things here and there in the beginning, but man, it just drops in quality so fast. Spongy, my dude, you were right. This is horrible. This is a terrible book, man. I can't believe the steepness of the drop in quality halfway through this book. It's unbelievable. It's such a piece of crap. Anyway, The Lizard of Oz, what do you guys think about it? Put your thoughts and comments down below once again. Thank you for watching. Please tune in for my ranking video for the most wanted books and the most wanted covers from, in my opinion, best to worst, or vice versa. I guess it starts at worst and goes to best, something like that. Anyway, put your thoughts and comments down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say, and I hope you tune in and subscribe for those videos as well if you haven't subscribed yet. And if this happens to be your first Goosebumps Most Wanted book that you've ever read, or your first Goosebumps book, God forbid, please do not base all of your opinions on Goosebumps off of this piece of crap. Please pick up some other stuff. Please, because this is terrible, and I hate that anybody probably in the world could have picked this up as their first Goosebumps read, or some poor kid did, and they got ripped off, frankly, as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. God bless you guys. Tune in for those other videos coming out soon, hopefully in the next couple of days, maybe even after this if I get it recorded today. Anyway, thank you for watching. God bless you, and goodbye.